Lack of power, that was our dilemma. We had to find a power by which we could live, and it had to be a power greater than ourselves, obviously. But where and how were we to find this power? Well, that's exactly what this book is about. Its main object is to enable you to find a power greater than yourself which will solve your problem. So I guess that means if anyone ever asks you, what's the main purpose of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous? It's to help you find a power greater than yourself, which will solve your problem. They could have even said, we'll solve all your problems. I have come to not only believe in a power greater than myself, I have come to rely upon a power greater than myself. And you know, before recovery, I looked at people with that type of a philosophy and thought, wow, you know, they're pretty extreme. Maybe even thought they were a tad weak, you know, counting on some entity that you can't see, you can't touch, you can't feel. It's just out there somewhere, and you've got to believe. Yes, belief in God requires faith. And you can talk about it all you want, and you will not receive that faith. Faith takes practice. I think all of us, I guess I can't say all of us, but the majority of us have had some form of theological education of some kind, you know, of heaven and hell and God and the devil and things like that, at least. You know, the book does a very good job of helping you to find that power greater than yourself. But it's still an inside job. You can write all the books you want about that, and you know, some people just never come to it. And the steps kind of set you up for it, okay? Because step one is the one that's, you know, like, man, I can't. I have this major issue in my life, and I can't do anything about it. In the chapter We Agnostics is where it says, lack of power. We were powerless in step one. We're still powerless in step two. So that's the dilemma. We need power. We need power. We didn't have the power over alcohol. Alcohol had the power over us. Now, does it still sound like my reliance upon God is extreme? I don't think so. I think it's absolutely necessary. But coming to that point was not the easiest thing for me. And I know it's that way for a lot of people. So I'm not alone in that respect. Now, I was raised around religion and that sort of thing, and you know, had some actual formal training because I went to a private school, which was religion based, with services before school every day. You know, you get an education that way, that's for sure. But what happened for me was that I found that God expected a lot of me with what I was being taught. God expected a lot from me. And in fact, He expected more than I was able to give. You know, that's one of the things that I've realized about religion is that, you know, and I've looked into just about every religion, is there's always this point that I get to in their teachings and their doctrine that makes me feel like, no, that's a hoop I can't jump through, man. It was frustrating. That was very frustrating. And so when I got to AA, and, I'm looking at the steps, and there's one that right away, step 3, the word God is in it. And I thought, oh, here we go, another religion. But immediately after the word God, it said, as we understood him. And it was even underlined, as we understood him. So it's my own understanding of God. And it may not be the same understanding that you have. For a few years, I used to say it was my misunderstanding of God. Because, I still don't completely understand God. But I have an understanding of who God is to me. Might not be the same as you. Might not be the same as anybody else. I don't know. But it's the one that works for me. I heard a speaker early on say, when you come to AA, you have an opportunity to get God in your life. So when you come to receive God in AA, he said, don't bring a small container. Bring a big container. Get yourself a big God. One that is all loving, wants nothing but what's best for you. Get yourself a God that completely and utterly forgives you for your past and is completely understanding of what you're going through in the present. Begin to practice having faith. I'm powerless. The dilemma of lack of power. So I have come to believe. And that coming to believe could mean that I've just come to believe that there is something that's more powerful than me. Okay. How about those waves? You got the power to stop them? Well, they're more powerful than you. Now, if you believe in creation, who made the waves? Who keeps them coming? Because, I'm here just about every day, and the waves haven't stopped yet. They calm down some, but they don't stop. So anyway, in step 2, you have come to believe in a power greater than yourself that can restore you to sanity. He's all powerful, of course he can do that. Now, don't get hung up too much on that word sanity, especially in the beginning of recovery, because, we're still fighting off the denial. I'm not insane. What are you saying? Well, after some months at least, if not years of sobriety, you'll look back and see just how insane your decision-making processes were, just your behaviors. You may not see it right now. You will, and you can always come back to these steps. In fact, I suggest it. After some time, come back to these steps and retake the steps. These are the steps we took. So take the steps. So anyway, in the third step, this is where we turn our will and our lives over to the care of God, underlined as we understood him. So I now have a basic understanding of the God that I have chosen. Because we all have that choice. in recovery as you understood him. Redefine the word God. That's what I did. I had to redefine what that word even meant to me. You know, just because when you hear the word God, and I think we all have this in us, you hear the word God, you immediately get this vision in your head of what that word means. You know, it could be an old guy with a long beard and, you know, flowing white robes. It could be, I don't know, it could be any kind of that's the one that comes up for me. And I don't really know why, probably the religious training. Anyway, I had to completely redefine who God was. And that's perfectly fine in AA. So step 3 asks me to make a decision to turn my will and my life over to this newfound God. It's easier said than done. You know, I mean, it sounds like, oh, okay, I'll just turn my will and my life over. It's really, there's more to it than just saying it. For me, I had to take the action. One of the sayings that I've heard many times in AA is that you can't think your way into good action. You've got to act your way into good thinking. So the action that I took, which was, I mean, it was very small, but it was a beginning. It was a traffic light I was sitting at. You ever been at a traffic light you think has been red for way too long? Yeah, me too. And this one was really getting on my nerves. I mean, I was vibrating in that seat like, what the heck is going on? I could even see the guy that I was supposed to meet. I had an appointment. I could see the guy standing there looking at his watch going, where the hell is this guy? You know, one of those deals. And I'm like, man, I'm like ready to like run the red light. All of a sudden, my sponsor's words came into my head. Give it to God. And that was the physical action that I took. I gave that traffic light to God. I immediately prayed. I said, God, this is your traffic light now. I don't have any control over it. I'm powerless over this traffic light. I know in my heart that it will turn green as soon as you say that it turns green. I gave it to God. Now, I can't say that I immediately felt, peace inside and everything. Remember, this is my first attempt at the action of taking step 3. So it wasn't like, earth-shattering or anything like that. I didn't immediately feel total relief. But I can say that I felt good about doing that. I felt good about getting out of the driver's seat and, trying to cause this traffic light to turn green. So anyway, I gave it to God. Now, it's not rocket science, but I'm sure you already know what happened. Yeah, the light turned green. Now, maybe not right away, maybe not within the first 5 to 7 seconds, but it did turn green. And it turned green after I handed it to God. Well, is that a coincidence? Some might say that. I preferred to look at that as God doing for me what I couldn't do for myself. The power of God changed that light from red to green. And I made it to my appointment on time. But what it did for me inside, it was like, okay, my first attempt at taking step 3 was a success. It worked out. And I didn't break the dashboard. I didn't have to run the red light, get in an accident, or cause an accident. Things went well when I handed it to God. Okay? So I put that one up there for future reference, that giving it to God worked out very well for me. So maybe next time I can do it again. Well, ever since then, I've been practicing step 3 on a regular basis. And that is how I got to the point where I have total and utter reliance upon God. It's a power greater than me. And He has solved my problem. He solved many problems in my life. And He created these waves that are crashing on the shore. He created every single grain of sand. He created this beautiful sky and that beautiful sun. Even the gorgeous clouds. I almost feel like He did it just for me. It's personal. AA is the best thing that ever happened to me. It changed my life, and it introduced me to the God of my understanding. I wouldn't trade this for anything. I want nothing but the best for everybody watching this video, and I certainly hope that you can find a power greater than yourself that will solve your problem. And then I hope that you continue to improve your conscious contact with that God. Give Him all of your troubles, and He'll do for you what you've never been able to do for yourself. So you guys have a great day, and I want to let you see what the sun looks like coming up from behind the clouds. See you next time.